Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for having me. Thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for joining the call. Again, I'm Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Extremely honored to be here, and it's my pleasure to welcome tobacco prevention advocates and faith leaders from across the state and the region to kick off our No Menthol Sunday, which is a national day of observance aimed at increasing awareness about the impact of menthol and other tobacco products on Black health. I'm especially thankful for the work of the National African American Tobacco Prevention Network and the partnership and leadership in the No Menthol Sunday effort right here in Wisconsin. For many years, I've had a chance to support the efforts of the Wisconsin African American Tobacco Prevention Network and the FACT Youth Program, who've done amazing work at keeping me up to date on tobacco related issues in our community. And one of their main messages has been that menthol tobacco has absolutely disproportionately impacted our community. And their work to bring awareness to this issue is critical to the health of our entire community. I would also like to say that the owners of Goss Foods, Superior Foods, and B&T Liquor for agreeing to not sell tobacco products on No Menthol Sunday is certainly a step for us all in the right direction. And as a statewide elected official, this issue keeps the same importance as it did when I was a member of the state assembly, representing the north west side of Milwaukee, because 7,700 deaths in Wisconsin are linked to tobacco use or exposure each year, and it remains the number one cause of preventable death in the United States. But it's even more important to me as a Black man in Wisconsin because we've already faced so many significant racial disparities. And when it comes to health outcomes, it's no different in the well being of Black people in our state. Even without the issue of smoking, it's something that's prevalent and it requires us to take immediate action on. We know that African Americans are more likely to develop heart disease, various forms of cancer, asthma, diabetes, and so many other chronic illnesses. And in this current pandemic that we're facing, we see the disproportionate numbers of Black people in our state that are becoming infected, getting hospitalized, and dying. Now, this is why we have to work together because according to data from the Department of Health Services, 23% of the positive cases are Black, and a third of the deaths are Black people, while we only make up just over 6% of the population. These disparate impacts are not the consequences of individual habits or poor choice, but rather the result of centuries of policy decisions that have resulted in significant racial inequities. The policy decisions about where highways are constructed determine the air quality in certain communities, as an example. And that poor air quality determines the rates of asthma and other respiratory illnesses that are experienced in these communities. But now that we're in the midst of this battle against COVID-19, the virus that attacks the respiratory system and directly hinders people's ability to breathe, the need for healthy lungs and healthy bodies overall is becoming more and more evident. So, this is essentially a perfect time for us to renew our efforts to combat the smoking of tobacco, especially menthol, in Black communities in our state. But we have to remember that this is much bigger than individual actions. We have to recognize that just as this virus is only exacerbating inequities that already exist, if we want smoking cessation to improve the health of Black Wisconsinites, we have to tackle so much more than individual decision making. We need to target the policies that make people more likely to get cancer or heart disease or diabetes before they even pick up a cigarette. And it's hard to get people to make the right choices when we have multi-million billion dollar tobacco industry that is pumping millions into our state in ad campaigns. And according to the FTC, the tobacco industry spends upwards of $160 million in Wisconsin each year. For decades, we know that big tobacco has been specifically targeted the Black community. In the 80s, they sent people in the Black communities to hand out free menthols that got people hooked. And they profiled Black people and flooded communities with ads that parroted our culture, parroted our language in order to make smoking menthols seem like the normal behavior of our community. And today, they still continue to advertise more in the Black community than predominantly white communities. So we definitely have to work to continue to educate people and also engage people in why menthols and other tobacco products are harmful. And we also have to continue our efforts to call out the corporations that continue to profit off the pain of communities. the ones that target us, and change the policies that are setting us up for poor health outcomes on the front end. So, as we all have so much more work to do, I want to thank everybody on the call for everything they've done so far, and look forward to continuing this work with you all. And I appreciate you giving me a moment to offer a welcome and to talk about why this is such a critical issue.